yeah. A little bit later on in the day means a hotter mic for you. Welcome, everybody, to the hot mic here on the Outlaw Nation. I'm the Outlaw, John Rocha, joined as always, by Jeff Sneider. Sneider, how are you, man? How are things?
I'm good, brother. Good to see you.
You too, my man. You too. You look a little, whew, it's been a day. You look like you got that look on your face, man. Has it been a day? Breaking a lot of news, writing a lot of articles. What's the deal?
Nope.
No,
I've been taking it easy.
Nice, a little refreshed today. All right, well, we got like 25 of you watching us right now, right off the bat. Please make sure you hit a like on this video as you go along. And remember, the Streamlabs and Super Chats are open as we get into things. Keep the chat lively, send in some support, and let's talk about everything that's going on. We're going to talk about everything that's fit and not fit to print in the world of entertainment. Let's ease into that top story. Let's talk about something else first here. Jeff Sneider, there's an It prequel. What's this all about? Is this really happening?
Oh, okay. I did think that we were gonna, start with the story, but okay.
We will. As soon as more people chime in here.
It's called Welcome to Derry, tentatively titled, as I understand it. And I read that it was set in the 60s. That's I didn't have really any details. I just heard it was going to be an origin story, for Pennywise and where how the curse started. That kind of thing. I loved how many people jumped on this, when someone wrote about the 60s and they're like, it goes back, the evil goes back to like the dawn of the planet. Like, we get it. You read the book. Chill out.
Where's the turtle? Where's the turtle?
This isn't the book.
Muschietti, though, is supposed to be involved in this, Jeff. Kind of interesting coming in and possibly even directing the pilot episode or the first episode of the series. An interesting decision by Muschietti. We've seen this. Ridley Scott doing this. Other directors giving a little bit of a
doing all their. Matt Reeves is doing the Batman TV shows, right? So
right.
letting the people who brought these properties, who are responsible for the success, right? On the big screen, they're saying, all right, you get a chance now to do the small screen versions.
Yeah.
And that's probably where the money goes.
Do you like this trend? Do you like this trend with these directors that have already established themselves in the theatrical realm with this franchise also kind of get to give their influence to these?
I think it depends. I understand it in Andy Muschietti's case because that movie didn't cost that much and it made a ton of money.
Okay.
But if I was an executive, no, I wouldn't I wouldn't have hired him back because I didn't think those movies were good.
What? You didn't think either one of them were good?
Not particularly.
That makes no sense.
I grew up on that original miniseries. Like that was like, if you asked me when I was 12 years old, what's the scariest thing you've ever seen? I'd say the It miniseries. So there, it was obviously competing with that in my mind, but no, I was pretty disappointed. I felt that both of them were bloated and not great.
Okay. All right. One more story before we get into our big story here. Sharon Stone is going to be in Blue Beetle. She's going to play the villain of the piece, playing Ted Kord's wife. I don't know how familiar. I imagine almost no knowledge in Jeff Sneider's head about the Blue Beetle origin stories or Ted Kord, but a lot of people already kind of worried about this situation because of the Catwoman stuff. Is she bringing bad mojo? Will she be a cooler to this series?
Bad mojo. Do people actually think like this? Like, is this how people think?
Yes. Some of the nerds do think this way.
She's got the Catwoman stink on her. It could ruin this whole movie.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my goodness. Who is playing Kord?
But they haven't announced that Ted Kord is. I think Ted Kord is dead. I think she's playing his widow, and she is the antagonist. So, do you anticipate that she's going to be, some kind of person who's mad about his legacy being passed on to a younger Latino kid? Is she going to be? Do they walk the line of turning her into some kind of MAGA thing? Do they make her just a?
That would be interesting. Right? No, I don't think that they're going to go in that direction. But that would be interesting, like a female Trump in a way.
Could be fascinating. Surely she could do it.
I do think that she could pull something like that off. I think it comes down to the script, as with anything with Sharon Stone. I think she's a great actress and she's capable of greatness when she has the right script. But maybe it's bad taste or whatever. But she's been in some real stinkers. So
yeah, true, very true. But then she's also in Casino, also which I like. The Quick and the
Dead. Should have won the Oscar for that.
Huh? She should have won the Oscar for that.
Yeah.
Calm down. Paulie J says, just supporting the channel, but with the Academy asking Will to leave and then retracting it, what a story. All right, should we just get into it? We got 60 people joining us, so we might as well get to it.
Did they retract it?
That's what he's saying. Did they retract it, or were there reports saying that it wasn't true?
We got a he said, she said, they said, it said. Dude, total clusterfuck here. A total clusterfuck. And really further proof of why Don Hudson and David Rubin is just like, good riddance. Don't let the door hit you on the way out.
Are they still involved in the decision-making process?
I don't know why they aren't on a beach in Mexico this week and being like, you know what? It's someone else's problem. Like, I don't know when their terms officially end. They end with the Oscars. But I they have to do the post-show recap, all that stuff. So I get this happened on their watch and they want to clean up the mess. But if I was them, I'd be like, peace, some other guy's problem.
I'm out. You guys deal with it. I wasn't there. But all right, so let's get into this situation.
Let's get into
it. It's been talked. I know it's been talked about. Even Daniel Radcliffe says he doesn't want to give his opinion.
We don't need to recap it, right? Everyone knows.
Yeah, everyone knows.
Literally everyone.
What happened and what went down.
The guy outside was screaming about it.
This caused a lot of division within the Hollywood community. I was and I'm going to try to find the survey as we're talking here. One of these research centers did an independent survey of what happened the other night, and it was split down the middle in almost all categories, between women, between men, between people of certain ages that were defending Will and what he did, and other people going after Chris Rock for his joke, and other people being upset about what Will Smith did. So an interesting division happening here. I even had a couple of friends get super upset with me because I wasn't more angry about the situation. So
I've had multiple people say something similar.
Let's
talk about it.
Yeah,
okay. I think we have to face reality. So I've written down some things on some receipts here. Some prompts.
As professional as ever.
And here's the first one, because this is really what it boils down to. Bottom line.
Okay.
The rules are different for stars.
Okay.
The rules are different for stars. And if you want to operate on some other planet where that isn't the case and everyone should be held by the same standards and that kind of stuff, like I am sorry. That's just not reality. Okay. So I do think that if, it was Cody Smith McPhee who went up there and slapped someone, that he would have been kicked out. But when you're Will Smith, okay, and you forget King Richard, you're the king of Hollywood, and forget movie star, you're one of the 25 most famous people on the planet, probably.
True.
I'm not saying you're getting away with it, because I don't think he did get away with anything.
Right.
But I don't really see what they expected the Academy to do in that moment.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, good. I mean, the thing you have to look at is pretty much most everybody in the auditorium was in shock. I mean, no one had ever seen something like this in person at an award ceremony, right? And most people watching were in shock. So this idea of vilifying the actors for standing up and clapping, like you're in shock. You don't know how to react to the situation. And the fact that you don't know if it's real or not, or a bit, even though you may suspect it seems true. But, there's new video coming out now that Jada was laughing after Will Smith slapped Chris Rock and then kept laughing at Chris Rock's jokes afterwards.
I'm so tired of this argument, though. I'm tired.
Saying, if you're in the auditorium, you don't know if it's real or not. So, yeah.
Right. I do think that there is a real, because I've read articles from so many people, and I made sure to seek out opinions from people of color and writers of color.
Yeah, absolutely.
And I understand that there's this performative thing sometimes where, and I know it wasn't a white person making a joke in this case, it was Chris Rock. But sometimes when white people make black people the butt of their jokes, they'll laugh along with them.
Yes.
Right, to sort of diffuse that tension. But it hurts on the inside. So I don't care who was laughing, what or when. Like, that is just beyond the point. Okay.
Right.
But I mean, I've got a zillion things here.
Keep going. Okay. So look.
I'm letting you guide us through.
Yeah. All right. Well, it's different because you've got stuff to talk about. I know about everything going on. The situation here now, didn't press charges. Nobody expected him to press charges. Certainly Chris Rock was never going to press charges. He wasn't bloodied up. He wasn't kicked and beaten and all that kind of jazz. He just kind of took the smack.
He was more than anything, he was embarrassed on national television.
He was embarrassed on national television. And truth is, Will could have got away with this walking up to the mic, saying something super positive about Jada, and walking back and sitting down. So all these people calling Chris a gentleman or a pro, the line is real thin, man. The line is real thin. Like if Butler doesn't make that interception and you hand the ball off to Skittles, we're not seeing the Patriots win. If 28-3 holds up, the Patriots are 2-6.
I don't know. You're going off course. I don't know.
I'm just saying the line is thin between GOAT and hero. And the same thing here with Chris Rock. If Will had taken a different action, Chris Rock would have been getting vilified, just like the producer of Summer of Love vilified him. But it didn't happen. And now we've got this situation we're dealing with here where people are calling for Will to give back his Oscar, for him to be kicked out of the Academy. I mean, it's all ridiculous.
All right. So once we've established that there's different rules for stars,
sure,
right?
Sure,
I think that is that. The other thing that we have to establish is whether we condone what he did. And I think I can speak for you when I say what he did was wrong.
Yes, 1,000%.
Right? He should not have gone on the stage.
No.
He should not have gone on the stage. He should not have slapped him.
Yes.
100%. And if he did slap him, he should have slapped him at an after party off camera.
Yeah.
And let the show go on, and then said, "Oh, hey, that was a funny joke, Rock," and then smacked him, at the Vanity Fair party. Like that's where that stuff is supposed to happen.
If you're going to commit violence, which we're not advocating you to commit violence.
But I'm saying there's a time and a place.
Right.
There's a time and a place. Even I know that.
Yeah.
And that was not the time and the place. So what So that's the second thing I think we have to say, that he should not have done this, right?
Yeah.
I think that people don't really understand. They're like, oh, well, he should have left either on his own accord or when they suggested that he leave or asked who cares? This is a guy who spent 30 years, which is older than most of the people commenting on this are, building to this specific 3-minute moment, right? That he's going to be on stage accepting the award.
Yeah.
And he's 30 minutes away from that honor.
Right.
You expect this guy they would have to drag me kicking and screaming out of my seat. You would need 10 security guards. There's no way he was getting up. And the idea that anyone would even think that he would is insane. Yeah. Okay. So David Rubin and Don Hudson can act as, we were so furious and believe me, we wanted him out there. Like, no, he wasn't going anywhere.
So let's deal with that bullshit, because the Academy came out and said that they tried to escort Will Smith out and he refused to leave. Now TMZ is reporting that sources say Will was never asked to leave and was never asked to leave the audit or to get out of the auditorium.
Asked to leave. If he was asked to leave, folks, that would mean that the Academy had decisive leadership, which I can tell you, having covered the Academy for God knows how long, and specifically these two leaders of it, there's definitely no decisive leadership. Okay. So like whatever they're saying, I trust Will Smith and his reps more than I do the Academy people. Believe me.
Yeah, but it's phenomenal here that the Academy is claiming that they asked him to leave, because that puts the onus on Will to defend himself. Why make a comment like this? You're getting raked over the coals for him not leaving. Take the L, survive the onslaught, wait it out, and then you make your decisions. This idea that they're dragging this decision-making process out and they've got to kind of look at the California statutes and then decide what they want to do. I think you said it best when you tweeted it out. They're waiting for the fire to die down to give him some kind of slap in the wrist and then move on.
This is like PR 101. I was literally in the middle of FYC on Monday when I'm like, guys, Will Smith is going to issue an apology. And then boom, there's an apology. I mean, it's not that I've seen this particular scenario play out a million times, but I've seen these kinds of things happen. Will Smith and Chris Rock do not want an investigation. They just want to move on with their lives. Because why, Rocha? You know why? Because you served in the military.
Yeah.
Because they're men.
Yeah. Listen,
they're men.
And we're not listening. I get it. Some people have been like, oh, toxic masculinity. I get it. I totally get it. Where that's coming from.
That's a different conversation.
Yeah, but I'm saying the idea of it being handled between men. I'm not trying to kind of cast aspersions. This situation from guys of their age, we handle shit between ourselves as men. Will fucked up, did something in public.
I'm not talking about the hit though. I'm talking about the aftermath.
That's what I'm getting to that.
Okay.
Will fucked up, slapped the dude. My man rolled with it, handled his business, got out of there. Diddy says they talked about it, squashed it. I don't know about to this.
Covering for them.
Yeah, right. But if they squashed it and it's done, I mean, Rock said in Boston yesterday he's still processing. I get that. It's an embarrassing situation, but eventually they're going to figure out between them. Everyone else grabbing their pearls and going crazy about it. And, you know, I saw some pundits call me out for using pearl clutching. That's what it is. Like everyone's saying. Now, if you're a victim of trauma, I understand if this triggered you. 1,000%, or victim of assault, totally respect your process. But I saw a lot of people using it for, like, you know, Zoe Kravitz throwing it in on her Instagram. Like, here's my beautiful dress. And apparently we're slapping people at the Oscars. Like, the fuck? It just is a weird thing.
It's a whole bunch of virtue signaling. We all understand that hitting others is not acceptable. Okay. Yeah. We all get that. You're not like some saint for recognizing that. What I think no one has recognized, there are extenuating circumstances. Okay, not just with the joke and the alopecia. This is something that goes back years. Okay, right? Mm-hmm. Because 2016 of the past, right? Of the past Oscar ceremony that the Smiths threatened to boycott because of Oscar So White, even though Rock was going to be hosting and everything. Yeah. And there was another joke then, and also, and I don't know if this is true. This is like the big thing that I will speculate on it during this podcast is I'd read somewhere that Jada and Chris Rock used to date.
Ooh.
In the early 90s, and that it ended badly. They did not talk to each other after that. So I don't know if that's true or whatever. Like, for all I know, this has been brewing for decades. Certainly Will Smith and his wife have been the butt of certain jokes the last several years. I mean, again, they put their business out there for the world to see, right? Yeah. And you're going to get responses when that happens. But I understand that after all this, you know, all these jokes and stuff, for Will Smith to come there and all of a sudden he's in a sketch he doesn't want to be in, that makes him uncomfortable. His wife's being made fun of the butt. This is his night. This is supposed to be his big night. Right. And it's a very emotional night for him. And I don't know, man. I think you and I both are quick-tempered guys who maybe are a little impulsive, you know, at times. And I could understand it. It's not that I condone it, but I understand.
I haven't put my hands on anybody since 1992 in the military. I haven't. And I usually use my mouth or my presence.
You and I know how to do that.
And I usually use my mouth or my physical presence to handle my situations and to make it clear how I feel about things. I don't like to throw hands. I don't believe in throwing hands. Throwing hands conveys a weakness, you know. And I had some coward reach out to me one time. I was like, "Are you threatening physical violence against you?" And I was like, "But bro, you're so small to me. I wouldn't even remotely waste my time with that nonsense. How insanely arrogant of you to think that you're big enough for me to waste hands on. I wouldn't do that, because that shows a betrayal of logic." So that to me is the problem with what Will did. Will could have easily said shit from the fucking sidelines and just yelled at it like, "Yo, cut it out. Cut it the fuck out. This ain't 2000. Don't do this 2016 shit again." That would have handled it. But
we know that, like, right? Like, but we have to talk about what's done is done.
Right. So let's move on to what do you want to hit next on your cheat sheet there?
Well, I mean, okay, the idea that he should have been arrested, right?
Yes.
Like, can you imagine the international uproar? I mean, if you imagine if that was the front page of the New York Times the next day, Will Smith in bracelets on being let out of the Dolby in front of his peers. Are you guys insane?
Yeah.
That would
imagine a black producer overseeing an Oscars where a top black star is arrested for a slap. Imagine the uproar, not just overall internationally, but within the black community itself.
So, like, the question is, what should the punishment be? The people are like, take away his Oscar.
Yeah.
No, he earned the Oscar. And I hate to say it, okay? It's the same way Roman Polanski earned his Oscar and the same way Harvey Weinstein earned his Oscars, okay? These guys are not good people, okay? But if you're not taking away Harvey's Oscars, you're not taking away Will Smith's for a slap. Yeah. Like, that's just not happening. So that's off the table.
Okay.
Can we agree on that?
Yes, agreed. 1,000%.
You know, people are like, I just don't know. I think that he should cut an anti-violence PSA. Absolutely. I think that is one way to use his platform. Yeah. You know, I jokingly said he should be forced to host the Oscars. Next year as penance. I don't think he should probably be near an Oscar ceremony for a little while. And I don't think that, you know, I think it's a pretty big punishment that, like, this guy's art. Forget what happens with the box office, because I really don't think the box office will be affected too much. People are saying that, you know, they lost respect for him, but believe me, if he's in a movie that you want to see, I have a feeling you're going to find a way to see it.
Yeah.
I think with awards, though, he could give the performance of a lifetime, twice as good as King Richard, and I don't think he'll be nominated. And I think that is the punishment, that like he's never going to be nominated again by this Academy, having embarrassed them on an international level. And of course he has lost, his good name to some people, even people like me who are maybe defending him or not defending him, but like trying to sympathize with him a little bit. Yeah, like I don't think he went up in anybody's book. He went down in everybody's book, but it's not to a crazy level.
Well, look, I think you have to factor all these things in. I see Mike Joyce is a bit upset about it in the chat here. He's saying Will Smith is the only one who did something during the ceremony on TV. Why not take away his Oscar? Because it's dumb. It's dumb. The Oscar is given for you earning it. He didn't bet on baseball. He earned the Oscar. That's what it's for.
Not best person. It's not the Oscar for best person.
Right. And Mike, if you lost, quote, all respect for Will Smith, you didn't have much respect for Will Smith to begin with, because a slap where he, in his mind, at least that's what we're being told, was defending his wife. And you can argue whether you like that idea or not. And I totally understand people who didn't like that and people who supported, like Tiffany Haddish did. That there's two different points of views on that situation. But this is not some guy just flying off the handle for some innocuous remark. He was tired of his wife being the butt of jokes, him being the butt of jokes, and he took it out on someone on stage there. That was a mistake. But I don't know how people lose all respect. Like, people are like, Will Smith is ruined for me forever. It's a fucking slap. Like, I don't get why people go crazy.
This guy's been like the family-friendly, goody two-shoes movie star, like music star, just like a pillar of his community, and he slaps a guy in the face, and that's just done with. It's incredible, like how no one has any, like, no one's allowed any redemption. Like, if no one's allowed to come back from like mistakes like that, like what are we doing here? He is a human being.
Yeah.
Like, that's the other thing. And I see this all the time reporting on celebrities and A-listers and whatnot. It's just like, these people are still human beings.
Yeah.
And that gets lost in things. I get that he may have been a role model to kids. And I do think that is
a legitimate
argument. Yes. That's a legitimate argument. If parents are sitting there with the Oscars and it's like, great, now how do I explain this?
Yeah.
Their favorite, one of their favorite movie stars, hit this man and I get that, but other people who are just like, oh, I was so offended. It's like, think of sports, Rocha, right? Think about like when athletes get into fights on the sideline. That's not part of the game, right? But we don't think of like, I mean, maybe Ndamukong Suh stomping on that guy's leg, like you're like, I lost all respect for him. But there's a lot of fights that break out. We don't lose all respect for these athletes, and I found this to be very similar.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. We're from a different time. So the 1980s, guys were punching each other or whatever on the basketball court all the time. The 90s, especially, and we lived through the Palace Brawl. And look, I mean, most of those guys, still do their thing, still work in some kind of media section or whatever. So, I mean, Ron Artest went on to win world championships and redeem himself as meta world peace. So this idea, and he did way worse than
I was thinking about meta today, Rocha. I thought about the exact same thing. Like, this guy, we eventually embraced meta world peace, and he didn't slap a guy,
Nope. And he never apologized after he fucked over the Pacers. He's never apologized for them. If you watch that documentary on Netflix, it just went and embraced a whole new way of being. And eventually will find his way back. And listen, Will is one of the quote unquote, you could argue, and I want people to hear me out of this, quote unquote, safest black actors in the world. White people love Will Smith like crazy. And so this idea that all of a sudden this idea, let's go back to the arrest thing. The madness of even insisting that he should have been arrested is insane to me. He lost his cool.
That's from people who have no idea how the industry actually works.
Yeah.
These are people who are just really removed from the reality of this town who are making that suggestion. Because I don't think anyone in the Dolby thought he should have been arrested.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Again, if it was some random, production designer who did it, maybe, then probably would have happened. But that's just not like, this is a town that caters to its talent, let alone its A-list talent, right? Of course he was going to get away with it. And think of how many journalists, how many respected journalists, and we nominate them for the press awards, and they're so important. And what did they do? They went and they danced the night away. They got jiggy with it all night at the Vanity Fair party with Will Smith. Didn't ask him any questions. Okay. Nope. When the backstage, moderator in the press room said, "No more questions about the slap." What did my press do? What did my colleagues do? They listened to him.
They acquiesced. Yeah,
exactly. Like, these people should be embarrassed to call themselves journalists. My colleagues are disgusting, I feel like. Okay?
Easy.
That's just me.
Well, I mean, it is true that sometimes people value proximity to context, proximity to studios, proximity to actors or directors more valuable than actually telling the truth and or commenting on it, which I find to be a real weird type of thing, because then you end up just becoming a mouthpiece for the studio, a mouthpiece for the film, a mouthpiece for the actor, because you're never you're never willing to call them out on anything. And you've got to be fair. You've got to be impartial in your approach to things. And I think that's where there starts to become problems when people call themselves journalists, but never write one negative article, never deliver one negative review. Those kinds of things are mind blowing to me.
And now they're beating it into the ground.
One more thing. Hold on. On the arrest thing, I want to say one more thing.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to make it clear. The same people, some of the same people, not all, some of the same people who are protesting the police, screaming for defunding the police, screaming for racial profiling, screaming about racism or the systemic racism of the police, are the same people going, arrest that black man for slapping another black man. That is hypocrisy at its highest levels, that even what you claim to be a corrupt organization, you will turn to that corrupt organization when you need it to do something for you. And I was just like blown away by the hypocrisy of that. I
think there's a lot of bullshit arguments being made. There's the video going around about Will Smith slapping that reporter on the carpet.
Oh yeah.
That guy was like an internet prankster who kissed Will Smith. Like,
right,
he deserved it. He deserved to get popped. It's not like, oh well, this is a pattern now. Like, I'm pretty sure Will Smith's not gonna go around slapping anybody else anymore. I'm pretty sure he's learned his lesson.
Yeah.
The other one is, and I get why this argument is being made.
Mm-hmm.
And I, play basketball every week with a group of comedians.
Yeah.
These comedians who are like, well, Will Smith just greenlit violence on comedians. I'm like, I don't know about that, because unless people are really like, oh, look what Will Smith did and he got away with it, I'm going to go do it too. I got bad news for you. The result's going to be the same whether, before the slap and after the slap, you're going to get arrested. Okay. That's what's going to happen if you go on stage and slap a comedian. So I don't really understand this. Well, Will Smith is all of a sudden the lawmaker, and if he does it, then I get to do it. Or you're not going to get treated like Will Smith, because that's not who you are.
And don't forget, Will Smith was in a wasteland for a majority of the 2000s. He was no longer the big box office star that he had been in the past. He was still doing occasional movies that made money, but he was inconsistent. It wasn't until Suicide Squad showed up a few years ago that people are like, oh yeah, Will Smith's actually a good actor. And we started this kind of mini renaissance that led to King Richard. So this idea that he's the arbiter of the culture and changing the cultural landscape and influencing the movements of people, that's so not true. He certainly is well known, but Will Smith doing something isn't going to make a bunch of people all go, you know what, it's good to, and the pearl clutching amongst the stand-up comedians, same thing. This idea, oh no, they're going to slap us. People have confronted comedians on stage for decades. Dare I say it, since the dawn of man and cavemen were making jokes around the campfire, they've been confronted. So it's always been a situation. So this idea that somehow Will is greenlighting this is just ludicrous. And I do want to say but I will say this, Jeff, and this is where me and you might differ. I don't think because a celebrity is a celebrity or a star is a star, they have to just sit and take it. You know what? Fuck you. You were famous, or you're famous, or you worked really hard in a tough industry and you became successful at it, making millions of dollars. Well, now society says you have to sit there and take it from other comics who are up on stage because we got hired. And the best way that we can make ourselves feel like we're connected to the common man is to make fun of millionaires. And that angers me on so many levels, as if you fall out of bed and become a millionaire actor. It's ridiculous. It's one of the most difficult professions on the world. Only 2% of actors make above fucking minimum wage poverty level. 10%, and 2% make the Tom Hanks, Will Smith money. That is rare, okay? So this idea that, okay, so you're there, we get to fucking pick at your most personal shit, fuck that nonsense. I don't care if I brought it up in a podcast. Just because I talk about some personal shit in a podcast does not mean it is now cannon fodder for you, and that includes Ricky Gervais, who I think is the worst of them, who's a fellow millionaire, a fellow successful actor, but he's trying to play himself off like he's a blue-collar guy like everybody else. I'm going to make fun of these millionaires. Fuck that nonsense. That's
I don't know. You're sitting front row at the Oscars. You got to expect to get, to take a joke. Will Smith.
Yeah, but on your personal fucking relationship.
I get that this wasn't a good one. We don't know whether or not Chris Rock knew about her hair situation or not. What's weird about the whole thing is that, like, when I close my eyes and think of Jada Pinkett Smith, she's bald. She's a bald actress. Yeah. Okay, I think of Jada Pinkett Smith from Demon Knight. So she's always had a shaved head to me. So I don't really understand like what the big joke was other than that's just her look. I mean, it's when she has long straight hair that it looks like an obvious wig. So I didn't get that. But Chris Rock, made a documentary about Black women's hair. You'd think he'd be a little bit more sensitive about the issue. I think Chris Rock, and I know this obviously came in the aftermath of the slap, and he was shaken up, right? He was thrown off his game. But what he did with, the Questlove, saying, Questlove and 4 white guys, which is material he'd already tested the night before and, knew it wasn't 4 white guys. He already knew that because that joke bombed the night earlier at, some other award show. It was just like, not everyone's at the same award show, right? Chris Rock is like doing like Golden Globe stuff or like, they're on different pages. Will Smith was just there to like have his moment.
Let's do with a couple of these comics real quick. Comments. Dixon Snyder says Jesse Plemons should have slapped Amy Schumer. No, that was a bit they worked out ahead of time. So you're wrong there. That's the
people in America are the ones who fell for that.
Yeah, exactly. Michael Mann's a little angry here. You are so full of shit. I don't know if that's because he's kind of angry working on his new film. I don't know where that's coming from.
Something tells me that's not the real Michael Mann. But
is that right?
I apologize, sir, if that is.
Very angry. Somebody hug Michael Mann right now. Give him a hug. He's very angry. What's the next thing you want to hit on this? We got a couple of Streamlabs that have come through real quick before we get the rest.
I did have a good point, and I think I lost it. No,
right. Maybe you'll find it as we go along through this. And ladies and gentlemen, send in Streamlabs, send in your super chats, send in support. You love the back and forth we're having. Jeff's opening the door, kind of pulling the curtain back on stuff that's going on behind Hollywood's doors. So come on, send us some support, send us some love. What?
Do you think that that his career is over?
No, hell no. I don't think it's over at all. I'm telling you. Look, let me bring this up. These are the polls that were done by Blue Rose Research, a Democratic pollster, by the way. They surveyed 2,162 Americans online regarding that slap. 52.3% of people saying Rock deserved what he got after he joked about Jada Pinkett's scalp, joked about her or being bald. So that's 47.7% were against Will Smith or were for Will Smith or against Will Smith. 53.3% were against Chris Rock. That's a majority of 18 to 64-year-olds and those making less than 1,000 agreed that Rock was more in the wrong. And about 56% of women put the blame on Rock. So
I don't care about any of these numbers.
Well, I'm just telling you, I don't think his career's over because it's split like this. And there's a lot of people who are on Will Smith's side of this. So in no way do I think his career is over because all of us in the Hollywood bubble, we think, this is going to affect his whole career. People in the fucking Midwest and most of the guys probably in the Midwest were like, that's just two dudes had a disagreement. And they're rolling on.
Is that if you saw that like a bar, would you even go home and tell it like your
no, not even because it was just a slap. I wouldn't even expect the other person to press charges or call the cops as some people were going crazy about. They should call the cops. And what are you talking about? So.
God, what else? There's been so many revelations. So there's like this has gone on for days. And I didn't want to say my colleagues were disgusting earlier because I understand that maybe Will Smith wasn't taking questions at the Vanity Fair party, but to me it's the hypocrisy after the fact. Yep. I know the point that I wanted to make, right?
Anyway.
It's like, okay, so did you read Deadline's live blog?
No, I did not. I'm looking at Deadline right now.
I think you read the follow-up though. Like Fleming, was really like Will Smith did the right thing. And then the next day he apologized.
Oh, yes, that I did read. Yes.
There's been a lot of that kind of stuff. And I think it's a good thing that everybody takes a day and thinks about it.
Sure.
And they're entitled to change their minds. I've changed my mind on certain things, but like to deny that first instinct, it just seems disingenuous. I'm not saying, Fleming's hardly the only person I saw do that, but I've just seen a lot of 180s that I think are going with the social media wave.
Oh, sure.
If you
People
will.
want to keep their jobs, and they get afraid. And there's no surprise in Hollywood, no matter how cocky or strong they seem to be on camera, all of them fear for their jobs because they love the status of having access to fame. And most of them, are trying to get to that position where they get famous themselves. They're driven by that desire to have some kind of respect. And so doing 180s to kind of go along with the flow because they don't want to be, canceled, or they don't want to upset any of their either female or people of color or supporters there. No surprise at all. I'm not saying it's disingenuous, the 180s. Certainly you take some time away. It was a traumatic situation for some people. But I mean, other people I see doing the 180s, I'm like, come on, man. I don't know if I believe you for sure. Real quick, we got 160 you all watching us right now live. Thank you so much. Please hit that like button because we only have 61 likes. Get us to
that was really Michael Mann. Now I'm all nervous. I'm like, Michael Mann, don't hate me. I love you.
It's not Michael Mann, trust me. I am Two Fly Cam says, I was so disappointed in Will. As a black person, seeing us represented this way in front of millions was disgusting. Now I will say this, having some text exchanges with some of my black friends, the one thing, and some of my patrons who are black, the one thing they told me was they're mad about what Will did because it just gives more fuel to racists.
It perpetuates the black on black violence thing. Yeah.
Well, also that you can't bring black people to these big events because they're going to cause problems and blah, blah, blah. And that's what Janine Pirro, even on Fox News, went crazy about a couple of months ago.
That's a pretty racist way of looking at it.
But I'm saying that's how people from that spectrum will see it. And that's what the black community fears, is perpetuating that myth all over and over again.
But can you imagine if one of them was white? Can you imagine?
Oh my God!
Racial
either way,
it 5 times bigger.
Oh,
yeah. Which is fucked up. It's.
What do you think the reaction would have been?
Thank God these guys are black.
Yeah. What would the reaction would have been if Jada Pinkett had gone up there and slapped Chris Rock? What do you think about that?
I think the show would have been able, everyone would have cheered and everyone would have loved the moment. And yeah, I think she would have been the hero of the show.
Well, speaking of Deadline, they posted this story just a few minutes ago, or a little bit, 4:51 p.m. here. Apparently, there was a virtual meeting between Will Smith and David Rubin and Dawn Hudson, who are the president and CEO of the Academy of Motion Pictures, Arts, and Sciences, on March 29th. There was a 6-minute Zoom call initiated by Will Smith to them, mainly for Smith to apologize. And some of the people on the Academy's board of governors were upset about it as they began disciplinary procedures against Smith. They were mad that they didn't know about this call. One of the insiders are quoting said, "Why would they keep this from us? It only contributes to an atmosphere of suspicion and lack of leadership," as you mentioned earlier. And there's 50 members of the board of governors here.
The Academy is in CYA mode.
Yeah.
What's that mode, John?
Cover your ass. Exactly.
Cover your ass mode, big time. I mean, even citing this bizarre California law that we have to give Mr. Smith 15 days notice. It's just do you think if you hadn't given him the notice and you just held a hearing and made a decision that Will Smith down the line would be but they never gave me my 15 days? What? They are definitely waiting to see if this blows over. It has not yet. I laugh at every journalistic outlet that spent $1,000 to see Chris Rock in Boston last night do stand-up, where he addressed it for 20 seconds as if we thought he was just going to spend his entire hour discussing this. Obviously he doesn't want to discuss it. He obviously would have gone on some late show already if he did. And he had a whole show planned. He's got material.
He's got time. He's got to move on. He's got a career. He's got the ticket sales rocketed for his upcoming tour.
This is this will be great for his career.
Oh yeah.
So he's going to get a boost as he deserves, and Will Smith's going to take a hit as he deserves. And can't that be the end of it?
Yeah.
Isn't that enough? I think that he needs to probably be suspended from the Academy. I don't know if you kick him out for good,
No.
Yeah, that seems a little drastic.
For God's
A
sakes.
3 to 5 year suspension seems fair. I would
What? 3 to 5 years?
even 1 to 3 years. I mean,
6 months. It's more than enough.
no,
It
you
was
need a
slap.
year. You need a year minimum.
He
Obviously,
didn't punch him. He slapped him. That's a difference.
it's not about a punch or a slap. It's about embarrassing the Academy in front of a global audience of 60.
Nah, that's fair. That's
but
fair.
I think that he should lose his voting privileges. But I think he should still be eligible. Like if he's going to do the work, if he's going to act in a movie, that movie should be eligible. But it's up to the nominees, and the town will decide whether, all right, his performance was so undeniable and so good that we have to nominate him anyways, or they're going to say, you know what, that was disgusting last year. I don't want to see this guy on the campaign trail or whatever. He's not getting nominated.
No better evidence of that than how the Academy nominated Mel Gibson for Hacksaw Ridge. After all the shit he pulled. Now, it wasn't on an Academy stage, but still, the stuff he said, the anti-Semitic stuff he said, the stuff about women there, all that stuff, they were eventually able to forgive him. And Jodie Foster is one of the first people to start that process with that Beaver movie to kind of get him, accepted back into the Academy, back into people's hearts.
Will Smith may need that kind of ally. I don't think he will. I think Will Smith is like a big enough star, and he's a producer. He can create his own material, that kind of stuff. Yeah. But yeah, he may need someone to be like, take my hand, Will, come with me, and we'll do a movie together.
Exactly, and that may be coming.
With the Mel Gibson stuff, though, I had another point and I fucking lost it.
Start writing it down on those cheat sheets, those little napkins you've got. Let's get through these Streamlabs and Super Chats real quick. Philip Bryan says, set out to run 10.25 miles, made it to 8.5, and now I'm walking and watching Outlaw Nation. Keep up the good work, gents. Is Jeff a Star Trek fan, a Trekker? SNW in 1 month. No?
I thought it was Trekkie. Isn't it Trekkie?
It's both. Trekkies don't like to.
Well, there you go.
Don't get into this. Don't get into
what a Trekker is. So there's your answer.
Trekkies get mad. You got to call them Trekkers. They don't like to be called Trekkies. They think it's dismissive. Jonathan Hale says.
Oh, wait, real quick. Yeah. I got it. With Mel Gibson, okay, and I know there was audio or whatever. There was no footage, right?
Right, there wasn't. Not like Ray Rice, where you saw
and seeing. That's the thing. These days, seeing is believing. Okay, and the fact that it was visual, because a lot of people don't read. Yeah. So I think that is going to be the difference, unfortunately.
Let me ask you something. Whose career is more over? Alec Baldwin or Will Smith?
Alec Baldwin.
Yeah, right? Thank you.
Again, someone died there. Someone got shot. They didn't get slapped. They got shot.
Right. But it was an accident, whereas Will Smith was intentional slap. So throwing it out there. Jonathan Hale says, I was sort of turned off by Will using Denzel's advice in his speech. Just seems like advice you give a friend in need and confidence. Maybe I'm alone. No, it's a valid point, Jonathan, but I think what you saw in that speech was a man with 35 different conflicting emotions slamming into themselves at the same time, and he was desperately trying to find the right words to kind of say what he needed to say in that moment, but he couldn't be vulnerable and honest, and he started to rationalize or legitimize it in a way by saying, oh, Richard Williams defended his family. And by the way, Richard Williams came out and said, we do not advocate slapping anybody, so I don't know why I used my name. So in that moment, and I think him saying the stuff about Denzel, which is a true point, by the way, and I think it's an excellent point to be taken, piece of advice, but I think he was just trying to grasp at anything in that moment because this was going to be his crowning achievement, and he fucked it up for himself by letting his emotions get the better of him. So I don't know how much value you could put in if he was in his right mind delivering that speech.
He definitely was not. And it's like that's what I loved about that speech, whether it was a mess or not. It was real. It's the first, you don't understand. This guy's probably been practicing his speech for 3 months.
Yeah, probably.
Probably knew it by heart, cold, had it all laid out what he was going to say. And a half hour before he's got to give it, he's got to rip the thing up. And he knows he has to address what he just did. I mean, I think under that kind of pressure, I thought again, you just want something raw and real from these people because it's all fake. Even when you think it's real, I'm telling you, it's fucking rehearsed, whether it's a publicist
They're actors.
or whatever. Exactly. And so, that maybe that's why dumb people fell for the Jesse Plemons bit or whatever. Like, these people are Oscar nominated actors. Yeah. So I have to give Will Smith credit, because I think that he, I thought that speech was a nice moment, even if it wasn't perfect. That's life, though. It's not supposed to be perfect. And did you read Pedro Almodovar's Diary of the Night?
No. What did he say? Pedro.
Well, there was a little, it was a great piece. I think it's on IndieWire. Track it down.
Okay.
But he was talking about how it was a fundamentalist speech that we should neither hear nor see. Some claim it was the only real moment in the ceremony, but they're talking about the faceless monster that is social media, blah, 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 blah. So, to me, it was just like, well, Pedro Almodovar, I get that, but like, that's what the world that we're living, where this is offensive, this is fundamentalist, this isn't something we should hear or see. Who are you to decide this?
Yeah, right.
Okay, just let reality happen. Okay, let life happen, and we can decide. I'm an adult. I'll decide whether I'm disgusted by it or whether it's fundamentalist. But when someone's telling me what I should or shouldn't see, even if it's Pedro Almodovar, no, sorry.
Well, I think it's even more wrong when it's Pedro Almodovar, because Pedro's films are all about not limiting people's freedom of speech or to protest or to fight. Like, I mean, even Parallel Mothers is about exposing what the Francisco Franco did to Spain and some of the pain in that country that is still going on for some people, because they still haven't found all the bodies to give closure. Why is that? Because people are shutting up and not speaking. So the irony of Almodovar to say, ignore this and it's fundamentalist and blah, 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 I find that to be fascinating. Sometimes liberals can be the most fucking restrictive people on the planet. It's crazy. It's true.
I'm ready to move on, unless there's anything you want to say.
We've got a bunch of Streamlabs super chats. We're gonna get to them, Jeff. You keep interjecting with your points, so let's get to them. The joke shouldn't even be in question, says Goopy G with the fly on the avatar. That's good. If my boss hired a comedian for a gig at my work and he insults my wife and I assault him, I'm escorted out and fired. Sneider, please bring back your podcast. This is the podcast. You sons of bitches.
If my boss hired a comedian for a gig at my work and he insults me and I assault him, yes, you are Goopy G. You are escorted out and fired, as are 99.9% of us, because you're not Will Smith and you don't work. Like, that's the point of this whole thing.
Yeah. You guys are trying to make yourselves Will Smith. You're not Will Smith. You're not. He's not normal.
I wish Will Smith and I that there were the same rules applied, but I'm not like naive or ignorant enough to like. They don't. And you got to accept that. You can bitch about it, cry about it, whine about it, do whatever you want to do about it. But in the reality, it's not going to change a fucking thing. Will Smith is different. Those people have money. And guess what? They worked really, really fucking hard to be there. Right. And so sometimes the benefit is that they get away with these kinds of things and not suffer what you would suffer in a situation. And when you if you ever get lucky enough to be in that position, guess what? You're also going to take advantage of that situation. Name me the first person who was like, no. I deserve the full punishment. Give it to me. I'm not going to hire the best lawyers just because I can afford them to get out of this situation. No one in the history of man has ever done that. So that's the way it works. They're also exhausted after like 3 or 4 or 5 or even 6 months on the campaign trail. Right.
Yeah.
No one's in their right frame of mind, I feel like. Yeah. Especially with the Oscars being turned into a sporting event. There's this competitive atmosphere. Yeah. And again, if this happened in a basketball game or a football game, you'd say, what a terrible display of sportsmanship, right? But you wouldn't be calling for the player to be arrested.
Right. Exactly. Ben Reiner says, it was a stunning moment that after a few months will blow over. A few months, try a few weeks, bro.
Hope not. Hope it's sooner than that.
And both will be fine. Chris Rock already has 6 shows sold out. He'll be fine. Oh, yeah. Rock will be fine.
Yeah.
Whatever
one person, John, said, Chris Rock didn't press charges because it'd be career suicide if he did that. Like, Chris Rock doesn't give a shit, obviously, about Will Smith or what Will,
He's fine financially. Chris Rock is. Nobody. Yeah, and I want to see someone roast Chris Rock. I mean, he hasn't had the best history with his relationships as women. So certainly there's something there to explore. Oh my God, we got a bunch of things that came through here.
Let's see. Wayans video, by the way, too.
I have not. No, I saw him on the.
It was like someone was impersonating Chris Rock hosting an award show, and then someone came up on stage and they all beat the shit out of him.
Jesus, that's terrible. I did see the bit from the Chappelle show with Rick James and Charlie Murphy, where they have deep fake the faces of Will and Chris on the respective people. That was fantastic. And maybe I'll bring it up here in a second. All right. Okay. There's another one here that came through. I guess I didn't read it. Okay. PC Williamson 1 says, taking away his Oscar makes no sense. But Jeff, with your FYC prowess, what would have happened had the same incident occurred at an award show prior to the Oscar voting? Would Andrew Garfield or another person be taking home the Academy Award instead? Ooh,
that is a good question.
Yeah,
that is a really good question. Let's say if they'd been at the Globes, right, and Ricky Gervais had been hosting, I mean, just hypothetically or whatever, maybe it was Chris Rock, and that happened at the Globes. Would he still have won?
I don't think so.
I don't. Would he still have even been invited?
No, I don't think so, because Jane Campion, people thought she was going to lose Best Director because of her gaffe about the Williams sisters. That was the week that people were voting for the Oscars. People thought she was in danger because of that, and that's not even a slap.
That's a great question. I haven't heard that. Like, out of everything this week, I haven't heard that.
Yeah. In no way does he win. No fucking way. Just like Burt Reynolds talking shit about the Oscars before he got there, he killed his own chances of winning the Oscar.
I think he could have still won, because I don't know that there was really last year there was Chadwick and Hopkins and Riz, right? Mm-hmm. That was a close race. I don't think that this was a particularly close race. So even if he lost a fair amount of votes, I don't know if it would have been necessarily enough where the Oscars suddenly go, because it wasn't going to Cumberbatch for playing a cowboy. Get the hell out of here. Maybe it would have been Garfield, but
not enough people had seen Tick, Tick, Boom. No way it was going to go.
Yeah, I think Will Smith probably would have won anyways. The question is whether he would have been allowed at the ceremony a month after doing that at the Globes.
Wasn't DiCaprio nominated for Best Actor
this year? No.
Who was nominated for 5 Best Actor? Who was the 5 Best
Javier,
actor?
Right? Javier.
No way he wins. Who else?
It's not Riz. Garfield, Benedict.
Right. Will. Come on, you're on FYC. A shame. Someone help Jeff out, for God's sake. Someone help Jeff.
Nominee. I only paid attention to 3 of them because the other
Denzel, right? Maybe Denzel wins as a protest vote to Will. Denzel takes it for Tragedy of Macbeth. That's a possibility. Wade West says regular folks who do all kinds of jacked up stuff want Smith destroyed, but want grace in their lives. We are all hypocrites. 100%, Wade. All those people going after Will Smith, I would say a majority of the people, if not 95, 99% of the people going after Will Smith have done some pretty nefarious shit in their lives and rationalize it in their mind like, well, it's not a slap. Really? You fucked this person over, got them fired so you could move up at your job. It's not a slap. You lied to a bunch of people and you embezzled money. It's not a slap, though. Like, there are so many. By the way, your girlfriend, your boyfriend, your father, your mother, your daughter, your son, your sibling, your cousin, whatever, your family member, your best friends, they've done some nefarious shit that you've covered up or you've rationalized is not a slap. So for you to throw that stone at Will, you better be a fucking apostle from Jesus, really, in my opinion, to be so sanctimonious about it.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's just ridiculous, for God's sakes. All right. We got some more of these, Jeff. Let's roll through these. Alan Smith, he says, yo, Rocha and Sneider, I want to know why Sean Penn hasn't smelted his Oscar down yet. He promised. That's the controversial Oscar situation I want to talk about. Yeah, it's true. I mean, Ukraine was spoken about by Mila Kunis, who's suddenly the new Ukrainian. She
didn't mention being Ukrainian on the show. People were like, why is it Mila Kunis? They didn't understand. They make a connection.
Well, because she's been saying Russian for so many years and claimed it was because nobody knew where the Ukraine was. You tell me, should he be smelting down his Oscars? They didn't mention Zelensky or didn't bring him up.
No, I mean, good publicity for whatever the docuseries that Sean Penn is working up about Zelensky or whatever. But no, the guy's not going to smelt his Oscars, and even if he did, he already won them. So it's like, who cares? It's like if I won an award and then my dad lost it at the house or in storage, it was in some box and I couldn't see it. I still know I won it. Yeah. So I don't think he cares either way. I did kind of buy that he would do that, but I'm glad. I actually, even though the show was a disaster and Will Packer should never be allowed to produce another award show ever again, I did like that the tone of the show, because it wasn't overly political.
Yeah, I agree. I don't know why. Maybe I'm just getting older, and I'm super political. I didn't want it at my Oscars. You know, I didn't want, and some of those comments, some of those shots they were taking,
and that was enough. Like
Yeah,
they gave it, you know, Mila Kunis and the nice, like,
Yeah.
you know, title card.
Very nice.
That's all I need. I just didn't need every speech being about Ukraine. Like, that's not why people are tuning in. It's not the time or the place, really. I get that everybody wants to, you know, look like a saint up there on stage, but
yeah. So, like some of the shots the hosts took, I had issues with, but whatever. Philly G said, "Hello, gents. Thanks for providing this show. I get that it's just a joke, and Smith definitely shouldn't have done what he did, but I don't think someone at the Oscars should be expecting such a personal joke. It's not a night at the Chuckle Hut. Hey, I don't disagree with you. Do it at the Golden Globes. Do it at the fucking SAG Awards, whoever. Don't do it at the Oscars. You know, if he knew, right? If he knew, and I didn't even like what's her face's joke. Oh God, I forget her name. He made the joke about Will and Jada's relationship.
Regina Hall, yes,
yeah, Regina Hall,
which is a worse joke.
Yeah, way worse joke. And you know, I would have been more upset about that because listen, just because I've spoken about my open relationship, and look, you know, we've had issues, and you know the Tupac situation. Like, why the fuck are you bringing this up on national television? Where do you think we are? You know, and so for me, that joke would have pissed me off even more. And Will rolled with it. Will was like, no, I'm not going to go up there, blah, blah, blah.
That speaks to what are the Academy Awards supposed to be, okay? Right. Because, you know, like, are they, you know, supposed to be this roast of celebrities, you know, for ratings or whatever? Or is it supposed to be a classier affair? And I think when you introduce things like the Most Cheered Moment Award and the Fan Favorite Twitter Award, right? It's bringing the entire show down a level. Yeah. And I hate to say it, but it's where those jokes, you know, throughout the night met that level.
Yeah.
Yeah. And for the record, I did like the host, and I know I didn't like the announcement of the host. I was like, these hosts aren't going to do anything for the ratings.
Right.
It seemed like a weird choice, but for the most part, I thought they did a pretty good job, and I liked Amy's monologue.
Yeah. Okay. Fair enough. Let's see. We got more here that rolled through. Adam Jimenez says, "Hey guys, new time. I can't watch live, but missed last week live. So I just want to drop some love. Even if I don't know what you're talking about, I know you're keeping it real. LOL. Peace." Thank you, Adam. Carol says, "Evening to you both. Not to keep Jeff much longer, but as I stated earlier in chat, can we talk about a real problematic person, Ezra Miller, for a second?" Yeah, Jeff. I mean, Ezra Miller, under investigation now for apparently attacking a couple. I mean, this coupled with that video that somehow disappeared off the internet of him choking out somebody kind of reminded me of someone that went Ray Donovan and made sure that thing disappeared. What do we feel about Ezra Miller now? I mean, Fantastic Beasts is on the precipice of coming out. The Flash movie is almost finished shooting. So how do we deal with this Ezra Miller situation? Why is WB still keeping it going? Like, he doesn't put butts in seats, does he?
No, yeah, there's a weird show. I mean, you know, because Warner Brothers, that's what it sort of does, is it finds a young star and it casts him in a smaller role, and then it leads to a bigger role, you know, things like that. Like the old studio system. They're doing it right now with Austin Butler. Right. He's Elvis. And they're like, all right, well, you know, we want to put him in Dune. So, you know, they did commit, you know, these are two big things, the Flash in the DC universe, and now he's getting his own solo movie, and now and the villain in Fantastic Beasts. It is a lot on this guy. It does seem like they chose poorly, particularly because he's never been a box office person. He's not, you know, like that. Yeah. I think, you know, it's very similar to Shia. I think that Ezra probably has some demons. I don't know all the specifics of his latest arrest, but I would imagine that alcohol played a factor. Yeah, probably. And so, you know, he may need to go off to rehab potentially. Again, I don't want to speak to what he's dealing with because I'm not entirely sure, but it would seem that he has some sort of entitlement issue or anger issue. Right. Yeah, fair. G.I. Jose says, how do you think Will Smith should have handled the situation of Jada being offended by that joke? Okay. Jeff? I would have either, you know, used my time at the podium, which I knew was coming in 30 minutes, right? I may have put something during my speech and said, hey, you know, this is for the Williams family. And speaking of family, you know, my family's really, you know, taken some shots over the past few months and including tonight. And I didn't appreciate it, that kind of thing. Yeah. I would have used the speech. You know, short, if you really wanted to lay hands on Rock, I would have done it off camera. I would have done it at the after parties. Or even backstage. Or, I just, it was
say shit
definitely
about my work.
it was definitely not the right time. You don't do that at the Academy Awards, and for the same reason, it's the Academy. Again, it's the Academy Awards. I don't know why Kristen Stewart was wearing shorts.
Yeah.
It's a similar
yeah. I don't know why Chalamet wasn't wearing a shirt.
Physical violence to a woman's fashion choice, because it's she's entitled to do whatever she wants. But to me, it's just emblematic of this is the Academy Awards. Yeah. Okay, and this doesn't belong here. This behavior, and fucking neither do shorts.
Turning the Academy Awards into the MTV Movie Awards is not the way this needs to go, and it's a little frustrating to see that. And you say you like the hosts. I didn't 100% like the hosts. I thought there were some funny moments, but I didn't 100%. Some of those shots, like the shot at Ridley Scott in Last Duel, which is actually a good fucking movie. Some of those shots,
that's a good joke.
Nah, I don't know. Let's see. Wade West says Will slap Rock, but meant for internet period. Oh, meant for the internet. So basically saying that he slapped Rock for every slight that Will Smith has taken over the last 20 years.
He was all millions of us tweeting at home. Yeah, that's what Chris Rock stood in for, maybe. And so in that case, we all owe Chris Rock a debt of gratitude.
Yeah, thank you. He got slapped for our sins. Philip Bryan says Ezra is showing a pattern. Patterns matter.
I agree, and that's why Will Smith doesn't have this pattern, which is why he should get a fucking pass. And Ezra is establishing this pattern and soon will not get the pass, which is exactly what happened to my man Shia LaBeouf.
Oh, yeah, fair.
But when we talk about people who don't get chances, you're aware that not 25 years ago there was a gentleman by the name of Robert Downey Jr. who terrorized this entire city and drove around high on dope. Okay, putting everyone's lives in danger, and now he's fucking Iron Man in the MCU. So
but he's white, Jeff, so it's
Robert
easier.
Downey Jr. can come back from being a complete psychotic drug addict. I'm pretty sure that Will Smith will come back from this.
Yeah, but he's white, Jeff. That matters. Stephen Turner says,
"But is Will Smith? I hate to say this. Is Will Smith not the whitest black movie star?"
Well, I wouldn't say that, but I will say that he is embraced by the white community.
He is, because he's crossed over and he's embraced by white audiences.
Certainly. But I mean, Denzel is too, but Denzel retains a very strong sense of his of blackness. Stephen Turner says, hope Ezra gets the mental help he needs. I'm sure. Certainly that would be nice. All right, those are all the Streamlabs and Super Chats. We're at 7:06, Jeff. Do we need to kind of wrap it up here?
That's up to you. I can keep going. I'm the fucking marathon man. You want to talk Morbius and Moon Knight?
Right, let's talk about Morbius and Moon Knight. We'll move on from this. If you guys want to send in more Streamlabs and Super Chats, we'll talk about that, and then we'll call it a night. I got to get to my patrons after this. So
okay. Morbius. What did you think?
Morbius. First of all, film Twitter and the group think you all need to cut this nonsense out. Okay. A few prominent critics come out and say it's terrible. Then you all just follow the lead and say it's the most horrible movie ever. Ridiculous. It was a watchable film. It's not a good film. This is Sony's brand. Let's do 90 minutes. Let's not do a lot of character development. Let's get to the fucking point and let's see what the special effects are like. Those two Venoms sucked mad ass. And this one coming out is in that rhythm. And now I'm super afraid for Craven. And this film was watchable. I didn't mind Leto. And people saying Matt Smith stole the movie. Get the fuck out of here. Matt Smith was just as bad as Leto, if you thought Leto was bad. And I bet Matt Smith was going, fuck, I could have been Doctor Strange. The whole time, I imagine that's going through his brain, man. Because, I mean, that's a whole nother level. But, to me, it was watchable. It wasn't as terrible as people were making it out to seem to be. Those Venom movies were much more terrible, in my opinion. Jeff.
No. No. The first Venom is definitely better than this movie. I don't even think that's a question.
Oh, you're insane.
It operated for me on a guilty pleasure level, that first Venom. There's no real pleasures to be had in
that's true.
I didn't think it was a terrible movie either, but it's not good. Whereas
it's not good.
Have fun with Venom. I mean, there's just such a drop off. I mean, Jared Leto's a very good actor, right?
Yes, he is.
But he's not a movie star. Okay. He's not a capital M, capital S movie star like Tom Hardy is, who played fucking Mad Max and Bane. This guy played the Joker for 10 minutes and is best known for playing Raylene in Dallas Buyers Club, So It's Michelle Williams, Adria Arjona, not a four-time Oscar nominee, not even a one-time nominee like Naomi Harris. Matt Smith is not Woody Harrelson or Riz Ahmed. So to me, there's just a very clear drop in the quality of the elements that make up this film.
Yeah.
I thought the script was bad. I don't know if this is the shit that drives me crazy. If you're writing you're making a vampire movie, why would you go hire those Dracula Untold guys? That movie was horrible.
Yeah,
I guess
you
know what? Now that I think about it, I have a skewed experience with Dracula Untold because a friend of mine, her company put together the trailer and they let me pitch on it. So I had to watch it was like a fucking 4-hour cut of Dracula Untold. And after I was like, I don't know, I've never written a trailer before. I tried my best. It was horrible. And so maybe my perception of that is skewed. Dracula Untold may have been a hit, but it's a bad movie. Any way you slice it, whether it's 4 hours or an hour and a half, why hire these guys? I thought the script sucked. Yeah,
I would agree with that. Script sucked. Absolutely. And it's a shame because Daniel Espinosa is not a bad director. I liked Life. I thought Child 44 was an interesting film. Not a great film, but interesting. And this film, I think he doesn't do a bad job directing this movie, which is why I get upset with people in the groupthink of film Twitter going, oh, it's all terrible. It's the worst movie about a Marvel character ever made. Bull fucking shit, man. I get so mad at that shit. And I don't understand the unnatural hate for Leto that some critics seem to have lately. It's just kind of confusing to me.
They hate his method acting and the sentiment of the con. They hate the shit around him, but he's a very good actor.
He's goddamn, and We Crashed. He's excellent in We Crashed.
Little things he was really good.
Yeah, right. I liked it. I know Jeff might not agree with me, but I liked him in House of Gucci. I thought it was fucking great in House of Gucci.
I loved him in Gucci too. So
he understood the assignment. Stephen Turner says people should decide for themselves, not always like critics. Films are subjective. I feel we all have terrible movies we love. Of course, I enjoy Halle Berry's Catwoman. Oh, Stephen. Ooh, you had me, then you lost me, Stephen.
Oh, God.
James McDonald saying, love you guys. Can't watch the show live. Studying for a state exam. Well, good luck, man. Love the first episode of Moon Knight. When are we getting a Love and Thunder trailer? All right. So anything more to say about Morbius? What happens here?
We can move on. This is what I said in my LA Magazine review. Go to lamag.com and read my Morbius review, please.
Do it.
It ends with, this is a rental. It's not don't see this movie because it's horrible. It's this movie is a rental and not worth a trip to the theater.
At no point did I want to leave the theater. I like Jared Leto, and I was going along with the journey. I liked that a Latina actress was in this. I had no problem with that. The script just sucked, and I wish they'd take a little more time with laying the groundwork for everything. And Sony's desire to do 90-minute movies with these projects just drives me insane. Soul G said, thank you guys for being reasonable people on the Will/Chris situation. Appreciate you guys. Thank you, Soul. You're very kind. Fillmore Pockets just sent in some support. And G.I. Jose said, what's your thoughts on taking the Spider-Verse elements off of the Morbius movie? Yeah, we're not going to spoil anything, but certainly the director came out and said that the Spider-Verse elements, they haven't necessarily been removed from the movie. If I recommend anything to you two watching, stay for the 2 post-credit scenes, although you're not going to like them.
They're mid-credit scenes, so once the second scene, you can leave. Don't sit through the last 6 minutes of the credits, unless you want to, of course. But
for sure,
there's nothing after.
Yeah. All right. And let's move on to Moon Knight real quick. What thoughts on Moon Knight?
Not good.
Okay.
Didn't care for it. Thought it was pretty silly. I liked, Oscar Isaac, Ethan Hawke. They give it their all, but again, it just felt too small. It didn't feel like it had the same kind of scope as some of these other Marvel shows. Now 4th episode is a little different. I don't want to say too much more than that.
Sure.
And I'm willing to see where the show goes. But yeah, those first 3 episodes, it was like, oof, this is not great.
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was a really good episode. I think it was one of the best episodes of Marvel TV I've seen yet because I love the Moon Knight character. I know the ins and outs of that character. This was an interesting approach. They did not to give away too much, but an interesting approach to start with Stephen Grant because Stephen Grant's kind of one of the, how can I say this, isn't a strong personality in the Moon Knight mythology. So to go that route was an interesting point, having Mark Spector show up by the end, and what that's going to lead to is going to be fascinating. I like the world they created for Stephen Grant. Joy, and I love F. Murray Abraham being a part of this project. I'm such a fan of him and the Khonshu stuff. So I was down for it, and I'm looking forward to seeing. I've seen 4 episodes. I like the first 3. I'm kind of on the fence on the 4th episode, and then we'll see what happens when we get to 5 and 6.
I think they're entering very dicey territory. Yeah. Marvel. It's one thing when you have characters like who are in the other movies.
Yeah.
Like Loki, WandaVision. I don't need to recap it, but like when you're introducing new characters in these shows, man, I don't think it's going to end well.
I get concerned when you're doing 6 episodes. It's not enough. It's not enough to introduce this character and give you a little bit. The way you're approaching
it. Not enough. It's more than a movie.
If it's a 2-hour movie, there's different cuts you're making. You're getting to the meat more. With 6 episodes, you're playing around with more of the world, and we'll see what people think by the end of the season for sure. Goopy G says, most people said they didn't even know the Oscars were on Sunday, which I think is the main reason the ratings are low, not the content in the show. Now, I wanted to address this because Jeff said something earlier that Will Packer shouldn't come back. Look, the ratings almost doubled, Jeff. So, I mean, there could be a number of factors. People were more in the mood for Oscars this year than last year. People are the COVID stuff is kind of dying down in people's minds. Maybe the movies were better. All kind of stuff here. So, the ratings went up.
Last year didn't have a host, right? This year had a host. This year had movies we've heard of. Last year had Nomadland. Yeah. It's a no. Will Pat, just because he got them up off like the lowest they've ever been to now the second lowest they've ever been. It was not a well produced show. Really, the in memoriam to me. Oh. I know that this is.
I know, dude. That was terrible.
South and with the gospel choirs and everything, but to me, it was wildly disrespectful. I did not want to see people singing and dancing through the in memoriam. I don't understand that choice. I
don't disagree with you, brother. I didn't like the in memoriam either. Stephen Turner saying, what's your favorite MCU show so far? Mine is WandaVision. Do you have a favorite?
I mean, Falcon and Winter Soldiers, because I like the chemistry between those guys, and I like Mackie, and I couldn't get through the others. I mean, I guess I watched all of Hawkeye. I did watch all of Hawkeye, but
Hawkeye was good.
Loki pulled the plug after an episode or two. Too weird. Too fucking wacky. And WandaVision.
Don't challenge Jeff with the fantastical stuff. That's not his rum. He's not.
You're right. You're right. I need Hawkeye and Falcon and Winter Soldier. I need a little more grounded.
He wants Michael Mann's Loki. That's what he wants. Anyway, Loki's my favorite, to let people know. Loki's my favorite. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. We should wrap it up there, Jeff. Anything more to say? You good, right? All right.
No, I think we've said enough.
Yeah.
Let's, I'd love to see this Will Smith stuff die down for a few weeks, at least, please, God. Well, you can find me. I've been reviewing stuff for LA Mag lately, guys. Check out my reviews there.
Listen, read Jeff's LA Magazine article about the Oscars. I thought it was a fantastic article, brother. I really just want to give you a comment. Yeah,
I appreciate that. It's tough writing that stuff on deadline too.
I bet,
and especially because the show ended 45 minutes late, which is another thing. It's like the show goes 45 minutes long. Why do we cut all these awards? Why did they take this huge, terrible PR hit for weeks from Hollywood's most powerful people? To then do a show that's 45 minutes too long.
Yeah, good point. Shit, Jeff, we got to talk about Catherine Bigelow real quick.
We do have to.
Go ahead.
Great to see her back. Didn't love the log line of that project that she has, but at the same time, I think it could be, she could work wonders with it. Like, that sounds kind of generic Netflix movie to me, but in her hands, she gets the benefit of the doubt from me, even though I hated Detroit.
Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of Detroit. She, just to give the news here, she is set to direct Aurora, which is an adaptation of David Koepp's novel. David Koepp, a damn good writer. The story follows the events of a solar storm that knocks out most of humanity's power grids. Wait, didn't I see this with Tom Hanks already? And focuses the personal story of a divorced mother who must now do everything she can to protect her teenager and her estranged brother, a wealthy Silicon Valley CEO who has built a luxurious bunker in the desert for just such a disaster.
What do you think? It sounds good?
That does not sound good to me. I don't give a fuck about rich people, so I don't know why I would want to see them surviving and her helping him survive. And I bet they're all white, so that's going to make it even less of a desirous thing.
You want to see rich people survive so they can get back to their fortune, John. Will they be reunited with their money?
Will they save us all with their money?
I will tease not a scoop, not a story, nothing like that.
Okay.
But I'm going to tell you right now, SNL this weekend is going to be explosive.
Oh, I bet.
For more than one reason.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I will leave it at that.
Okay. You teased a black actor coming out. Did that come out? Did that and what happened with that? Anything you can say on that? I mean, you made a big deal out of that, Jeff.
No comment. Don't rewind the show 15 seconds. Goodbye.
All right. I'm just saying, you made a big deal about it. All right. Let's where else can they find your stuff? Do you say everything? The Ankler, everything else?
Yeah, the Ankler. That's where the scoopage lies, over at the Ankler. But you need a subscription, guys. You got to sign up for a subscription. Make sure you let them know you're subscribing from me, so they'll keep me around. LAMag.com is where I reviewed Morbius and Lost City. And then I've got some interviews and stuff coming up to below the line. Check out btlnews.com. We always publish good stuff from the artisans, rather than think about them one night a year like the Oscars do.
There you go. Good stuff. As for me, you can follow me at The Rocha Says on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok, The Outlaw Nation on Twitch. Please remember to subscribe to the channel down below, man. You're enjoying the channel, you enjoying the show. Get us to 25,000 subscribers as soon as possible. We're so close to crossing 22,000. So please subscribe, hit a like on this video, share it on your social media, and make sure you put that hashtag, the hot mic, on there when you share it on your social media. What else? Is there anything else? No, and that's it. Y'all take care of yourselves. Be well. Have a great rest of your night. And we'll see you next week with another brand new live episode of the Hot Mic. Peace.